From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. The Philippines and Palau moved to further strengthen bilateral relations after signing on Monday 3 new deals, including agreements on fisheries and policy consultations. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and visiting Palau President Surangel Whips Jr. witnessed the signing and presentation of the new agreements in Malacañang. The Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, on policy consultations was signed between the two countries' foreign ministries, allowing the establishment of a mechanism to exchange views on bilateral and regional cooperation, as well as on international issues of mutual concern. A diplomatic note for the study visit of Palau officials and stakeholders to agriculture and fisheries facilities in the Philippines was also signed. The technical cooperation will support a study visit by Palau agricultural and fisheries officials and stakeholders to take part in experiential learning through visits to Philippine training institutions, hatcheries, research facilities, and local markets to observe and study the best practices of the Philippines in these sectors. An MOU on fisheries cooperation was also forged between the Department of Agriculture, or DA, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, of the Philippines, and the Ministries of Fisheries and the Environment of Palau. The agreement seeks to promote sustainable development through fisheries conservation, fishing ventures, joint research activities, and the prevention of illegal, unreported, and regulated fishing.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, in a joint statement after the signing and presentation of the new agreements, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said he looks forward to the conclusion of a labor cooperation agreement between the Philippines and Palau within the year. The Labor Pact aims to protect and promote the welfare of Filipino workers in Palau, as well as the early conclusion of a social security agreement that will guarantee Filipinos who work in Palau access to social benefits. Likewise, the President bared that he has discussed with his counterpart formal cooperation in health and in promoting human resources development. Both the Chief Executive and Palau President Surangel Whips Jr. committed to continued dialogue and maritime boundary delimitation. There are around 4,000 Filipinos living and working in Palau. In 2027, the two neighboring countries will celebrate the 30th anniversary of the establishment of Philippines-Palau diplomatic relations. Let us listen to the joint statement of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Palau President Surangel Whips Jr.
His Excellency President Surangel Whips Jr., members of the Palawan delegation, my colleagues in the Philippine government, our friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am pleased to have with us His Excellency President Surangel Whips Jr. in Manila for us to take stock of our two countries' shared history of cooperation and solidarity, the many opportunities before us to further strengthen our close bond as two Pacific neighbors and friends. Anchored on our common maritime identity, our dynamic people-to-people ties, and our mutual commitment to safeguard the environment, we engaged in a candid and productive dialogue on concrete ways to realize the potential of our partnership and how we can present a united front in facing the challenges unique to our Pacific context. Our ties with Palau predate our formal diplomatic relations, which were established in 1997. Ours is a friendship born out of the common struggle for independence and for freedom. It is rooted in the strong historical ties and cultural affinity between Filipinos and Palauans that remain to this day. In this spirit, we exchange views on global issues, especially those that have outsized importance in the Pacific. I reaffirm the Philippines' commitment to working closely with Pacific nations in charting the future of the Pacific and our unyielding support to efforts to advance the resilience of our Pacific kin, which at the heart of the Philippine Pacific Initiative that we launched last year. On maritime cooperation, we committed to continue our dialogue on maritime boundary delimitation. We have also discussed the framework of our fisheries cooperation to improve our fishing and aquaculture sectors through the sharing of best practices and technologies. Capacity building initiatives as well, development of fisheries infrastructure, cooperation for the international market compliance. This agreement also signals our common desire to ensure sustainability in our life-giving waters. We thereby commit as well to work for joint fisheries conservation and to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices. Filipinos and Palauans share the same diligence and hard-working spirit, and we see this in the dedication of 4,000 Filipinos that are now making a living in Palau. With them in mind, I look forward to the conclusion of our labor cooperation agreement that aims to protect and to promote the welfare of Filipino workers in Palau, as well as the early conclusion of a social security agreement that will guarantee Filipinos who work in Palau access to social benefits. We have discussed formal cooperation in health, in promoting human resources development, and amongst others, that we have discussed a wide range of issues. I look forward to the immediate conclusion of our negations on the different critical areas of cooperation. We have made concrete plans for collaboration on technical, vocational, and training and other forms of technical cooperation, including, as we have seen today, study visits from Palau on agriculture and health, two important pillars of our bilateral relationship. We also recognize the importance of tourism and air connectivity in bringing us closer as neighbors. Our growing trade relations are an undeniable indicator of meaningful opportunities in the Philippines-Palau economic relations. I extend to our honored guests from Palau the Philippines' readiness to support Palau's renewable energy and construction sectors with Philippine companies offering cost-effective and quality materials. On the multilateral front, I reiterated the Philippines' commitment to be a trusted partner, an innovative pathfinder, and a dedicated peace builder. I look forward to advancing initiatives with Palau that will help achieve a sustainable, resilient, and inclusive future for our region. As our two countries look forward to celebrating the 30th anniversary of our diplomatic relations in 2027, President Whips and I have agreed to continue consultations and engagements between our two governments in the spirit of our long-standing friendship and Pacific kinship, in pursuit of our common vision of peace, prosperity, and progress for the peoples of our region. Thank you very much.
Ali, Your Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., esteemed colleagues, members of the media, very good afternoon. First of all, I want to take this opportunity and extend my heartfelt gratitude for the warm welcome we received from our arrival up until today. We truly feel at home, Mr. President. Thank you. It is a true honor to engage with you at this joint press conference. Our countries share a rich tapestry of history that dates to the colonial era when Spain held sway over much of the Pacific. Although our journeys toward independence unfolded in unique ways, and it was very moving this morning to be at the Rizal Memorial Park, but both were marked by struggles and resilience. And today, the Philippines and Palau stand united by the relationship that is steeped in our shared past, fostering cultural bonds and familial ties alongside a mutual commitment to peace, democracy, and the rule of law. As we navigate contemporary challenges, it is imperative that we engage diplomatically and collaborate closely. As I often say, we are stronger together. Just as the Filipino people have played a pivotal role in rebuilding other Pacific islands after the war, they have significantly contributed to Palau's development. More than 4,000 Filipinos call Palau home, enriching our community as accountants, nurses, dentists, pastors, teachers, engineers, construction workers, and many more. And we are grateful for the many Palauans that have been able to come to the Philippines, receive education and medical care. We have signed 2 MOUs and exchanged one note today to enhance our partnership and to help us move forward in fisheries cooperation. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, along with our Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Environment, will focus on promoting fishing ventures and aquaculture, enhancing trade and investment in fisheries, and developing fishing infrastructure and capacity. And I think work jointly to in our efforts against illegal fishing, and also data exchange and the transfer of technology. In our policy consultation between our governments, we want to encourage sharing of information on an official level, and the importance of those consultations and the exchange of views on bilateral, regional, and cooperation on regional and international issues of mutual interest. I think these MOUs today signal a new chapter in our relationship and our partnership as we reflect on our shared commitment to sustainable development and putting the well-being and prosperity of our people first. You know, in Palau, in every men's meeting house, we call them abais, there are often symbols that are painted. And one of those symbols is the surgeonfish. And as we know, when surgeonfish are out feeding, they feed alone. But when danger lurks, they come together and they form a large school and they protect each other. And I think this demonstrates the principle that we are stronger together. And I think now more important than ever, we must collaborate in navigating the geopolitical issues and pressures that we face, especially the existential threat that we faced with climate change. By standing united, we can overcome the challenges and build a brighter, more hopeful, and resilient future for our people. Let us move forward with purpose and solidarity. Masulang, maraming salamat po. May God bless the people of the Philippines and the people of Palau.
You just heard the joint statement of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Palau President Surangel Whips Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In the meantime, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. welcomed President Surangel Whips Jr. of the Republic of Palau during an official luncheon at the Kalayaan Hall in Malacañang Palace. In his brief remarks, President Marcos Jr. expressed gratitude for the enduring friendship between the Philippines and Palau, commending President Whips Jr. for his successful leadership and the recent electoral process that showcased the strength of Palau's democracy. In his remarks, President Whips Jr. underscored the geographical and cultural closeness between Palau and the Philippines, stating that Manila is the closest foreign capital to Palau, so it's fitting that friends should visit part of the Pacific family. Highlighting the significance of human resources, President Whips Jr. expressed deep appreciation for the Filipinos living and working in Palau. This year marks the 28th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two countries, which were established on July 15, 1997. Let us listen to the remarks of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and President Surangel Whips Jr. of the Republic of Palau during an official luncheon in Malacañang Palace.
His Excellency President Surangel Whips Jr., First Lady Luisa Raneta Marcos, the honorable members of the Philippine and Palawan delegations, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon. I am honored to have President Whips Jr. with us in Manila today for his official visit to the Philippines. Sir, your welcome visit comes only a few months after your country's very peaceful elections, reflecting the importance that you place in our bilateral partnership. Allow me to extend my gratitude for this extension of friendship and congratulate you for the successful and peaceful elections that demonstrated to the world the strength of Palau's democracy. Our bilateral relations have much potential to grow, as evident in the discussions and agreements that we forged this morning. These agreements form the building blocks of the new phase in our relations. We thank the government of Palau for ensuring the welfare of the 4,000 Filipinos who have lived and worked in your country and for recognizing their contribution to Palau's development. Under President Whip's able leadership, I have no doubt that as we approach our third decade of diplomatic relations, our discussions today will reinvigorate not only our bilateral relationships and cooperations, but also our partnership in regional and multilateral fora. As we raise our glasses, let us remember the solidarity between Filipinos and Palauans throughout our history, and let it be our guide to a promising shared future between our two countries. Therefore, allow me to ask you to join me in a toast to the good health and well-being of President Whips, to the continued prosperity of Palau and the well-being of its people, and to the enduring partnership between the Philippines and Palau. Mabuhay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Mr. Minister. Cheers.
President, Your Excellency, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Luisa Arnetta Marcos, distinguished colleagues and friends. It is truly a great pleasure for us to be here in the beautiful Philippines. And we want to acknowledge the warm hospitality and, of course, I think the Filipino spirit that just makes us warm and feel at home. So thank you really for the bringing us together and being able to be here. You know, the Philippines, Manila is the closest foreign capital to Palau. So you are our closest capital. So it's fitting that so soon after our inauguration that we're here to visit our friends, and I'd like to say are part of our Pacific family. We have a long shared history, and today has been a very productive day. I think it allowed us to further expand and enhance the strong relationship that we have, and more importantly, bring our two peoples and our countries closer together. Our human resources are our most valuable asset. And we are truly grateful for the 4,000 Filipino people that have called Palau home, because they are part of our development, they are part of our community, and they have helped us build a strong nation. We are here, of course, to further strengthen that bond in agriculture, healthcare, and provide business opportunities, and we encourage Philippine investment in Palau. We're grateful for this wonderful lunch that's being hosted today and the opportunity to spend time with Your Excellency and First Lady. And so if I can make a toast to President Marcos, First Lady Marcos, to your good health and to the prosperity and the peace of the people of the Philippines. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You just heard the remarks of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and President Surangel Whips Jr. of the Republic of Palau during an official luncheon in Malacañang Palace.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. expressed deep concern over the health of Pope Francis, following reports that the Holy Father is currently battling a serious illness. In a statement, the Philippine President joined the world in extending prayers for the Pope. The Chief Executive also shared words of encouragement for the 88-year-old Pontiff. Pope Francis was admitted to the hospital on February 14th after experiencing breathing difficulties. Initially treated for bronchitis, the Pope was later diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs. According to the latest medical update, the Vatican said Pope Francis did not experience episodes of asthmatic respiratory attacks and some laboratory results have improved. The Vatican added Pope Francis has been eating normally and can move. In fact, he was able to sign some documents and do some reading.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. received Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani in a courtesy call at the study room in Malacañang Palace. During their meeting, the President expressed confidence in the Japanese minister's visit to the country, stating that it would further strengthen defense cooperation between Manila and Tokyo in the face of regional challenges. The chief executive added that several decades of collaboration between their nations would help identify common ground for furthering relations. For his part, Minister Nakatani shared that their two countries are making significant developments in defense and security cooperation under the leadership and partnership of President Marcos Jr. and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. The Japanese official is in the country for a 3-day visit during which he toured the Basa Air Base and Wallace Air Station, observing the country's air surveillance radar system transferred by the government of Japan. He also met with his counterpart, Department of National Defense or DND Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr. and discussed on further deepening its bilateral cooperation with the Philippines in the areas of operational cooperation, people-to-people exchange, and defense equipment and technology cooperation. The Philippines and Japan will celebrate 69 years of diplomatic relations on July 23rd this year, along with 14 years of strengthened strategic partnership since 2011.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, veteran journalist Jay Ruiz took his oath as ad interim secretary of the Presidential Communications Office or PCO before President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in Malacañang. In his first ever interview as PCO Secretary, Ruiz vowed to fight disinformation and disseminate to the public the projects of the Marcos administration. A week-long transition has been set starting Monday, with Ruiz taking over by March 1st. Lawyer Claire Castro also took her oath as PCO Undersecretary before the President. Castro will also serve as Palace Press Officer, presiding over Malacañang press briefings. In her first media interview, Castro slammed former President Rodrigo Duterte for his baseless claims that President Marcos is veering towards a dictatorship. Citing how former Senator Leila de Lima was jailed over trumped-up charges during the Duterte administration, Castro said the public cannot expect anything from the former president but intrigues and fabricated evidence.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, after his oath-taking ceremony with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., Presidential Communications Office or PCO Ad Interim Secretary J. Ruiz visited the new Executive Building or NEB in Malacañang and is officially introduced to the Malacañang Press Corps or MPC by outgoing Secretary Cesar Chavez. The incoming PCO Secretary shared the directives given to him by the President, notably in bringing the government closer to the Filipino people and ensuring that the public is accurately informed and educated on various government programs benefiting them by continuing the fight against fake news. Secretary Ruiz introduced PCO Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro, who will also serve as the Palace Press Corps in briefing the MPC. A simple turnover ceremony followed in front of all the officials and heads of agencies under the PCO. Ruiz will serve as the fourth PCO head under the Marcos administration. Trixie Cruz Angeles was the first to serve as press secretary. She was succeeded by Cheloy Garafil, who now heads the Manila Economic and Cultural Office until September this year.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.